Dan Illman, Mike Beer, race number 9 at Belmont Park on Saturday is the second of 2 stakes races. It's a really nice card. It's the $200,000 Pebble Stakes at 1 mile on the turf for 3-year-old fillies. Bet it with a DRF Bets account. Sign up, get a 300% deposit match. You can learn all of the details at bets.drf.com. I think this is a very competitive field as we take a look. 1 mile on the Widener turf for $200,000. The number 6 Got Stormy is 3-1 on the morning line. And Got Stormy got really good in the spring and into the early summer. Now, maybe she wasn't facing the greatest competition when she swept through the Penn Oaks, Wild Applause, and the Grade 3 Ontario Colleen. But she won those races very, very easy. She's been gone for a long time.
I think you have to be concerned about a filly who's in the form that she was in right into the middle of the summer, and she just goes away with all the big turf races ahead of her. She didn't run in any of those. I think you have to be worried about that. The other thing that I would worry about with her, and listen, she's been good in her last 3 races, but I would worry about looking at a race like the Wild Applause where she's just sitting up on the pace with an overmatched horse, comes home 22 and change, gives nobody a chance to catch her, comes back in the Ontario Colleen, sitting up on the pace with some overmatched horses, walking on the lead, comes home in 22 and change, gives nobody a chance to catch her. She's had 2 perfect trips in a row, and she's been gone since.
Yeah, they were basically public workouts, those last 2 races where she was supposed to win, and she did so. And the pace is expected to be a lot faster in this spot. Of course, it's going to be a tougher field. Now, Marcassi wanted to run her in the Del Mar Oaks. She wasn't training up to par. Then she got sick at Saratoga. So she's missed some time, and she's going to have to lug 123 coming back. But on her best, she fits very well with this field. I talked about the pace, and I want to throw up the Timeform US pace projector for the Pebbles because, as you mentioned, Got Stormy in those races was sitting up close, sort of where the 3, 4, and the 9 are. She's the 6 in this race. She's going to have to do it from further back. That's not saying she can't do it, but it makes her task difficult at a shortish price. Let's talk about the horse that's on the lead, and that's a stretch-out sprinter at a big price. The number 1 Super Striking, who I think found 6 furlongs a little bit too sharp for her last time out in the Christie Cat Stakes. This is a more appropriate distance for her, and if there's a little give in the ground, you can upgrade her chances. But if the pace is fast, these are much tougher horses.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. She's facing some better horses maybe than she's ever faced in her life. I'm curious about what the thinking was about turning her back in her last 2 races. Like, I'm not really sure why they thought that was a good idea. She didn't run that badly last time in the Christie Cat, just trying to close from last. It was never going to happen, but she made up some ground that race. Her races earlier this year, though, where they were going longer with her on the turf, I mean, she ran well in those races. And, I got news for you. I know she wired a field in the Hilltop on that really soft turf course. She was winning races without the lead before that. This horse does not need to be on the lead to run her best race.
A horse that is close to the pace is the number 4 Cool Beans, who scored last time out. It was the first time she actually finished first in a race, but she's going out for a very dangerous horseman in Brad Cox, and we have a positive formulator fact to show for Cool Beans. Last out winning turf routing 3-year-olds over the past 2 years. First start off a 45 to 60-day layoff. 42% winners, a 252 ROI. Not sure that layoff by design, though. This horse listed as a vet scratch September 29th.
Right. We'll see if she can, wire a field like this. I would be surprised if she could. I mean, she just had everything her own way in that allowance race last time. But you know what? Her race 2 back in the Hatoof wasn't a bad effort.
The 3 Kittens Cover Girl also could be part of this pace, stretching back out to a mile, where she was effective 2 starts back. This has proven to be a nice claim for trainer Pat Reynolds. I think all things considered, in the Christie Cat, at a distance that might be too short for her, she ran okay.
I agree.
But I do still have some class concerns for this reform claimer.
I agree. I like the work that these new connections have done with her. They've actually gotten her good. She's run some nice races. This is a tough spot.
Let's talk about significant form, the number 11, because she was such a good 2-year-old filly. She won her first 2 starts. She ran really well, went 4th in the Breeders' Cup, and she came back firing in the Memories of Silver with a big buyer, and we thought she's on her way to having a big year along with her stablemate Rushing Fall. But in the Wonder again at 1 1/8, I thought that she was too confidently handled when she was wired by La Signare, who got away loose on the lead. I think she was on hold at a distance that was too far for her in the Belmont Oaks 2 starts back. but I just don't know what happened last time out. Maybe it was just as simple as Rushing Fall is just better than she is.
Could be that. It was also very soft ground. She doesn't have to love that. The problem is she's probably going to catch something like that again on Saturday if we're on the turf at Belmont, because it's just pouring here. So maybe that's the real concern with her. I'm sort of with you. I mean, I could go either way on her, Dan. It just feels like she can't really be the right kind of price in this race for me to really get on board. I still like her as a horse. I'm willing to give her the soft turf excuse for the Lake Placid, where she just didn't fire in the stretch, but otherwise I like everything she's done.
Chad has two others. First time import number 2 is Stella de Camelot. This is a first time Lasix user who won an allowance race over firm ground last time out in France, while the 4th place horse came back to run 3rd in a weak listed race in Italy. The horse that finished 3rd in that race came back to win a maiden. I don't think that allowance race was very strong. If ground is an issue, it shouldn't be for her, knowing that good soft turf form in France, but from a class standpoint, I don't know where she fits, but she's Chad, which means she takes money.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, we'll see what happens. I don't know. I don't love anything that she necessarily did over in France, but maybe she'll do better over here.
I've always wanted to like Alti as a horse, and they put the blinkers on, and I think they'd hoped that that would really kind of get her to focus. She ran well in the Lake George with the blinkers behind Daddy as a Legend.
Yeah, she did.
Last time out, she ran okay as well, but I just think she's gotten to the point where she's just running okay. The good news is Timeform US is projecting a good pace, and that is what she needs.
Yeah, that's what she needs. She didn't get it last time when Cool Beans wired that field, and she actually made up some ground in that race. I thought it was an okay performance. But I'm just, I'm wondering, I like her as a horse, I'm wondering if she's as good as some of the other horses in this race.
Victorine kept some good company in France, 4th in a Group 3, 2 starts back. First start in North America, she ran in the Sands Point. She came 4 wide with a bid on the turn. She didn't change leads in the stretch, but she's now under the tutelage of Christophe Clement, and she's getting Lasix for the first time. And to be honest with you, I kind of like her cutting back.
Yeah, he's cutting her back. I don't mind that either. I liked her last time in the Sands Point. I thought she ran well. I mean, the pace wasn't really there for her, as you mentioned. She tried the wide run around the turn, couldn't get to the leader. She got a little tired at the end of that race on her wrong lead, but I think she ran well. I liked her form in France on the way over. I think she's a good horse, Dan.
Another horse that should appreciate the cut back in distance is the 5, Andina del Sur. She won the Florida Oaks over a couple of these at 1 mile and a 16th. Since then, they've tried a couple of tougher spots. The Wonder again, where there was no pace, going 1 mile and an 1/8. And in the Lake Placid, Jose Ortiz did the right thing. He tried to stay close to that pace when it looked like there wasn't going to be a lot, but I think the pace is a little faster than he expected. He's just no match for Rushing Fall. Turn her back, give her 1 run.
Yeah, she's an underrated horse. I like, the shorter they go with her, the better, I think. She just needs the right kind of setup and the right trip, but she's pretty good. She's very underrated, I think.
Let's talk about the restricted risk-averse stakes at Saratoga on August the 23rd. It produces a couple of contenders for this spot. Monte Cristo has just been rock solid for Michael Trombetta. He placed her very nicely in the risk-averse, and she's not a great gate horse, so it really shows that that pace was slow, that she didn't break as well, and she got up right close to the pace. Jose took over at the right point, opened up, and had enough. This pace is going to be faster, but you know something? I don't think she needs that trip to win.
I kind of agree with you. I mean, she's a good horse. Last time was just one of those situations where Jose, he put on almost a clinic on how you ride a horse like her. He put her right up on the pace with some big long shot. He took it over at the right time, and not only did he take it over, he opened up on that field. He opened up a huge lead last quarter, 22-2. They were never going to catch her in there. A really nice effort. I think this is going to be tougher for her, but she's pretty good.
Good Things Take Time was the one that was compromised by that slow pace and the risk averse. She was trying to come from next to last. She made a good solid run to finish 3rd. You and I have always liked this horse. She has been a nibbler throughout her career. It always seems like she's at the mercy of pace and trip. Maybe now's the time at the price. I think she's good enough to beat a field like this.
I do too, Dan. That's why I took her on top in this race. She was just so badly compromised last time. Not only way back off of a slow pace, but wide the entire way. I like the run she put in through the stretch. I've always liked her. At about this, I think 1 mile is probably as far as she wants to go. I don't want to go any farther than this. But her races since she got here, they're basically all good. I mean, even the races like the Florida Oaks, where she went, I think she went a little too soon in that race and got nailed. The Penn Oaks, when Got Stormy beat her, she went first in that race too and contested the pace in front of Got Stormy and got run down at the end. I think she fits really well in this race.
We'll talk about Closer Still real quick, stretching out off 2 sprints. She was out-sprinted in her last 2 sprint races. I think the distance is a little far, actually, for this filly, who could be close to the pace. Or do you think that Cassie has kind of turned her into now a mid-pack runner, and she doesn't have that middle-distance speed anymore?
It'll be interesting to see what she does. She had a brutal trip in the Coronation Cup, 2 starts back at Saratoga. And then last time, it wasn't as bad, but she was probably second best in there. It didn't really work out for her last time either. I don't know about her stretching out. I do think she's in sneaky good form right now. I wonder why he's not running her in the sprint race 1 start prior to this.
Take a look at our picks for the Pebble Stakes. Mike is going with Good Things Take Time. Still eligible for a non-winners of 2 life, but has proven her mettle with several graded stakes placings, and finally will get a pace that she didn't get last time out. Mike's going 7, 8, 1, and 11. I don't have a good feeling for this race. I love the way Got Stormy dominated that weaker competition before the layoff, but I have to admit, if she goes off at 3 to 1, I'm not sure I really want her at that price. To me, the key to this race is how much do they bet significant form?
Yeah, I agree.
Because I have a feeling there's a chance that significant form can actually wind up favored in here. Got Stormy, a tepid selection for me. I go 6, 8, 4, 10 in the Pebbles, race number 9 at Belmont on Saturday. Bet it with a DRF Bets account. You know the drill. Easy sign up at bets.drf.com. Free 300% deposit match where you deposit 50 and you bet with 200. Approximate post time for the Pebbles, 5:18 Eastern. Good luck.